It's so nice to meet you. I'm Ashley from Substream.
Hello.
Yeah, hey. So I love the acoustic performance you guys gave. There was so much energy to it.
Thank you so much.
And I loved how you said every song you picked out was from a different era. So like, why did you choose to sort of set it up that way?
Do you want the real answer? I think the real answer was...
No, that's totally accurate though.
What?
In like a real sense.
Yeah,
like,
it was from each era, but I think we just realized after the fact, like, whoa, that's kind of cool. Yeah, those are kind of like some of our favorites to play. I think we just happened to be drawn to a couple ones from each era, and then we just kind of, and then we got excited and played a couple more. So
yeah, I think we always try and like limit our expectations with the acoustic stuff when it's just thrown in, but then once the energy's up, we're like, okay, cool, we'll throw a couple more in there just to really put the cherry on top.
No, absolutely, and I loved how your debut was named I Make Plans, We Make Plans, and God Laughs, which I think is so relatable. What made you want to go in that sort of dark direction?
It's kind of funny, like the actual like source of where that came from was a tweet that I saw a long time ago, and I just had it backlogged when we were writing the song, and Alex from All Time Low was the one who suggested that we use it. He's like, oh damn, that'd be a really cool, am I allowed to swear?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, okay, fuck that.
You're adults, it's cool.
Yeah, alright, just making sure. He's just like, damn, that would be like a really cool album name, or like name for the project. And we're like, you're right. So
How do you say if you don't use it, I'll use it?
Something like that. Like, alright, cool.
So we tackled him, tied him down. Hasn't been seen since.
Yeah.
Locked in our basement. You can't use
But
it.
it's also just so relatable because that's how we feel about our lives too. We just try to plan for things.
Right?
God laughs at us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talk about it a lot, but I think like our best moments are the ones that we try the least to control and just let it flow.
Like the acoustic set.
Yeah.
That was a We Made Plans and God Laughed moment.
Oh, you mean with the bridge?
The bridge,
The
the attitude,
tuning.
guitar. Yeah, you know. just
But
things
isn't that the
happen.
joy of life?
Yeah, just the
Nice.
randomness of it,
I like to
right?
say
You never know what's gonna
zest.
happen.
The
Zest.
zest.
Roll
The
with the
zest of
punches.
life. Yeah.
Also, I really love Dying to Be You because I feel like so many people feel that way of, I want to be somebody else, I want to like have this life I see on Instagram. People
yeah.
really don't take into account that it's not real.
Oh yeah.
So what inspired you to write that song?
Man, that's something that we all feel all the time, especially as like musicians. Like we live in a world where like you're constantly needing to be on social media and posting things and doing the next trend or content or wave or whatever. And I think something we all deal with is the feeling of we're never good enough, or like in the what's the quote? Comparison's the thief of joy. And I think that's something like going into that. I mean, that's kind of was the thesis for it, and you kind of tackled most of the lyrics for that one.
Yeah, I was pretty fucking depressed. That's why I just wrote about it. I think, you know, that's the irony of that feeling is it's like so many people feel that feeling. And I think when you put pen to paper, whether it's towards an audience or not, it's oftentimes going to catch a lot of empathy in people who feel the same way. So I think that's kind of what happened.
Absolutely, I know it's coming out at the same time as Mental Health Awareness Month. Does that sort of tie into how important you think this message is?
Yes.
Yeah. We talk about our mental health a lot just because all of us struggle, like most people do, but like we have a very open line of communication with each other, and I think that everyone should have that kind of communication with their friend group or their family or whatever. And so like if we can just keep talking about that and singing about that and actually just how we feel, I hope that it makes kids feel like they're not alone. That's the biggest thing.
Can we shout out the lyric really quick? If
Yeah,
depression was a job, I'd be working the night shift.
Yeah.
Hardest lyric we've ever written, in
Yeah.
my opinion. So
Yeah. I also had no idea that it was Mental Health Awareness Month. So
Yeah.
that's
You're welcome.
that's what we made. We made
Appreciate
plans.
it.
We made
Totally
plans that God
planned that.
laughed. There we go. That's another moment.
Yeah, for real. That's so funny.
Also, I love that you guys have this great relationship with Mark Hoppus, Blink-182. You guys are supporting them on tour, which is so cool. So I have two questions.
Yeah.
The first one is, I guess, how does it feel to be supported by such an iconic rock band and an iconic, person in the genre?
I've cried so much.
That's why he has sunglasses on.
Yeah.
He's crying right
So
now.
impressed.
Yeah. But it's an honor they're my favorite band ever.
It's surreal. It's a very surreal feeling. They're like so goofy. I mean, even the other day, like what Mark gave everyone in the crew a pair of pants because he ordered a bunch. He ordered pants and they were too big for him, so he like gave Mike a pair of pants, gave Juan a pair of pants. It was just like, I don't know, Dad's giving us good genes. But the feeling of having that kind of support is just like otherworldly, especially because he's been such an influence. They've all been such an influence on all of us in our adolescence. So now being here in our mid-20s and to have like the godfathers of the sonics that we're creating is just unbelievable.
No, absolutely. Pete wants too.
Yeah.
It's
Shout out
definitely,
Pete.
it's definitely one of those things where like, I think because our growth as a band has been very like 1% every day type thing. It hasn't really been like a big overnight thing. I think for us, it's like, at least for me, I'll catch myself in these moments where I'm like literally in a room with like all my favorite bands in one thing. They're all like, quite sad or whatever, talking to me. I'm like, okay, this is kind of weird. But the weirdest thing is that it doesn't feel weird. And then I start thinking about the thing happening, and I'm like, whoa, this is weird. You know, you start thinking about context when you're like 7, you know, and it's like, I think that's something we all kind of think about. Like, it's like we just 1% every day, and you slowly get there, and then all of a sudden you're just homies, and then it's like, cool. And then it's a very like, I guess it's humbling in a way, because you're like, cool.
Super.
And we still got a lot of work to do. We're trying to sell out Madison Square Garden. So
I was gonna say, what's the plan for that?
That's the goal.
It's such
So
a huge venue.
yeah, so it's a good. I think it's a good like just perspective. Like we're still going. You know, still going hard. We're not done yet.
We've only been
Oh,
playing
no.
shows for 2 years. Actually, less than 2 years.
Yeah.
So to go from a thrift store in 2021 is where we played our first show
In
to
May.
Madison Square Garden
Yeah.
in 2 years is pretty mind-boggling.
Almost
So,
2 years on the dot. Actually.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So in 2 more years we'll be back headlining Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
Oh no, I totally see that. Congrats on that, by the way. By the way, what was that thrift store performance like? Take people back to like
Oh,
when you guys were first starting
It was
out.
awesome.
So cool.
Because
Pure
A,
chaos.
it wasn't really like cool for concerts to be a thing yet. We kind of like did it underground because of restrictions.
Out of COVID.
Um,
We were like the first little underground
We were
punk
like,
stuff.
yeah,
you know?
and so our friends had a vintage shop, and they cleared out the whole bottom floor, and we had no clue. We hadn't played a show yet together. Invited a bunch of people. It ended up being packed. It was crazy. I think kids were just ready to go. We flooded the place with beer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They did an open bar, right?
Yeah, they had an open bar.
Yeah.
Incredible idea.
Yeah, seriously.
When we were leaving that night, like it was like puddles through all the way to the dressing rooms. I felt so bad, but it was the most punk shit we've ever
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, it was pretty iconic.
And Jason from Fever pulled up,
Mhm.
and
yeah.
also
Oh, I love
and Royal.
him.
yeah,
Okay.
and Royal,
Yeah,
yeah,
and
Royal
Royal.
pulled up. That's how I was saying. It was just like there's literally photos of like Jason just like crowd surfing with just like clothes, like literally just like price tags behind him. And he's just like just rolling around this crowd. It was so cool.
Ridiculous.
So
I love it.
yeah.
Yeah, final question. When you guys are at MSG, like, do you have any plans for what you're gonna give to the audience? Any performance plans?
We're gonna play.
Go
we're
hard
gonna
as
play
fuck.
play the songs.
We give 100% every show because like shows are what we call our bread and butter because that's just like where we thrive the most.
Our superpower.
Our superpower. That's what we call it, not bread and butter. We've never said that before, actually. We call it superpower. Yeah, I think we just give 100% at every show. So I think maybe tomorrow, because it's like a life goal to play MSG, we'll give like 200,000% and just like break ourselves.
Right into pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for talking to me. This was
Thank
so
you for
much
talking to us.
fun.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, and best of luck with MSG and
Thank you.
Blink-182. You guys are gonna go very far.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
that.
You're welcome.